This is our first chat about Ireland in this podcast that isn't a bit...
Doom and gloom, exactly. Yeah, nice to get what was, I suppose, 180th minute winner last night from Abbey Lark. It puts us all in good spirits this morning.
Well, it's funny, I was just saying to Alana there, like all of the players kept talking about like how they'd won the game. Obviously, I mean, they've won the tie, but I mean, Kate was like, it's great to win on my 100th cap. And first, Tony O'Donoghue didn't want to step in and say you lost.
Yeah, exactly.
We got the
Definitely
point.
the most enjoyable loss I have commentated on anyway.
Yeah. So let's take the two legs. Friday night was just so impressive.
Yeah, it really was. I thought it was, yeah, overall impressive against a higher ranked team, which we weren't really expecting. I think we would have taken a draw or even a narrow loss over to Belgium, and we would have been probably relatively happy with that. So to have the 2-goal cushion was really great, as the Shannock goes to Smaghlath and Hybra. So a good start's half the battle, and yeah, it was important to have that cushion now in hindsight.
Yeah. Can I say, if we're thrown in Oscoelge, I fully approve. I won't be much help, but I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But it's been a strange kind of time. There was the Wales playoff defeat, which felt like a real nadir. It's the end of Eileen Gleeson, and then there's kind of been the aftertaste of that, which isn't good with the legal case. And then I was reminding myself just of Carla Ward's tenure. And, it started with that really weird 4-0 defeat to Slovenia. The Turkey win at home even wasn't very good. I know the pitch wasn't great, but it wasn't super impressive. And then they regrouped and they beat Turkey and Slovenia and Greece, and it was it was fine without capturing the imagination. And then the summer tour, 4-0 felt very pointless. And then so I sat down on Friday going, I just don't see this being good. But the performance it wasn't just the result. It was like, I hadn't seen them play like that in a long time, maybe ever.
Yeah, it was great. The calmness and possession, I think, was missing a lot for the last few years. We just looked full of confidence, I think. And I thought the formation really suited us, the back five that people would often see as defensive minded, but it can be actually quite adventurous in attack because you go with 3 and then 5 in midfield. So it's really fluid formation. And I know Carla was really adamant that she wasn't going to change from her 4-3-3 when she first came in. But I think maybe those games in the US, she switched to 5 at the back and she held that then for the Belgium game. And I think in fairness to her, she did adapt. I know it's tough going from the club game into an international game, probably a bit of a baptism of fire, but she adapted well. And I think the girls, I think it was important to get the best 11 on the pitch, and that formation allows us to do that, I think.
Yeah. And the thing that makes it impressive is obviously she had no great run-in to kind of imbue the team with these patterns which suddenly appeared. So I don't really know how she managed to kind of do it. Maybe, as you say, it was just picking the right team. Chloe Mustaki, that bit of quality on the ball as one of the 3 fullbacks seemed to help, and Katie McCabe and her, they played together a long time underage and so on. Maybe it was just like they just sort of clicked, and it was almost like they thought, God, this is sort of working, as opposed to they didn't have 10 games of building this slowly.
Yeah, I know it did seem to come from nowhere. And the one thing about the friendlies in the US probably did uncover Chloe Mustaki from Carla Ward's point of view, because she wasn't really getting a look in before that, and then with absence of players and that, she got a chance and she took it, in fairness to her. So yeah, I think that really it gives a good balance as well, having I think a left-footed left-sided centre half, and like that releases McCabe as well. So I just think, I don't know, a combination of things worked, and the players really just brought the grit and determination as well that we've grown to expect obviously from Irish teams. But I thought Emily Murphy as well, she moved into a kind of centre forward role rather than on the wing, and that really suited her, the kind of tireless energy and running from herself and Cruz at the top. I think they really impacted us because I suppose they started the press as well. They're good offensively, but they also started the press defensively as well.
Because like a couple of months ago when Caruso's out in the right wing, and it just, again, I just, on Friday I was like, what's happened?
Yeah.
I've never been so shocked by her performance. And then, Katie's, will we call it a hat-trick? We'll give her that one?
Look, I mean, it was great. She was involved in all 3, and I think that was the most important thing. She said herself, once across the line, she didn't really care, although she was still claiming it at the same time. But
we'll give it to her.
Yeah.
So that was really positive. And then last night, Ward went with the same team. So straight away you could see Belgium were more physical. Denise O'Sullivan found that out several times. And also the one thing I thought they did, which like it made no sense to me on Friday that they didn't do it was they started pressing us a bit higher. Like I thought on Friday, they let that back three, back five really grow into the game and have pressure-free possession. And you could see Mustaki and, God, I'm enjoying this. You know what I mean? And like, we're a team that should be pressed. Like, we're not perfect on the ball, getting our faces. So Belgium came at us far more last night.
They did, and you could see that then, like that, didn't have time in the ball to play those long balls into space, into the channels, and they were quite successful, I thought, in their press, pressing us high. And although we were probably expecting that, I don't think we dealt with it maybe as well as we could have. And then on the flip side, I thought we gave them too much space in central midfield, in particular, those areas. Van Havermaet, who came back from suspension, I think really impacted the game. Herself and Janssens weren't available for the first leg; they were suspended. So Belgium actually made 4 changes going into last night, and you could see they were a changed team. And I think that's the thing when you're playing two-legged games. The team that loses probably in the first leg has it a bit of an advantage because you've already seen each other tactically and you can make those tweaks. And yeah, Belgium starting with their press were really successful, I thought, especially in the first half.
Yeah. Like Ireland had their chances and their moments. They weren't totally out of the game that first half hour, and there was the McCabe free, which Caitlin Hayes was kind of gilt-edged chance. But then the first goal came on 34 minutes, both from Tessa Volhart. Her 97th goal on her 151st appearance is just outrageous, really, playing her club football at Inter Milan. The first goal was like an exhibition of team play.
Yeah, it really was. It was hard watching on, as obviously as an Irish fan.
I secretly enjoy. I'm fine.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to concede, you want to be opened up like that, don't you? I mean, ideally you want to keep a clean sheet, but I thought their combination play up their left side was really good, and we tried to stay with them. I think Mannion just got slightly outpaced, and then the ball came in, and McCabe had to follow the run across, and then Volhart, like I said, was left free then on the back post, and it was such a calm and composed finish. You know that you can tell she's in the 90s of the goal scored, because she made it look easy, but really it was coming in at pace and just redirected it nicely across the goal.
I thought as the ball was bouncing towards her, I wasn't that worried.
No, you expect most of those end up in Rose Ed, really. Just get under it and hoof through the ball. But yeah, she was just so clinical, and it was tough from an Irish perspective because I think that was the first shot on target as well. So like you said, I don't think we were particularly bad up to that point, but Belgium just showing their class, really, like the quality that didn't shine through in the Aviva, but it did there towards the end of the first half.
Yeah, I agree with you, because I was disappointed with them on Friday given the billing they'd been given. But with that goal, I suddenly went, oh my God, that's not a goal you see very often.
No, it's not. Phenomenal. It was ticky-tacky, like 1-2 touch over on the left side. Like I said, even Denise got done with a ball, a 1-2 as well, which you don't see too often, but it was just the speed of play, and they just switched it on like that.
Timing of it, yeah, amazing. And the finish, I mean, if you haven't seen the finish, I would urge you, I mean, the highlights are out there. It's just calmness, technique personified, and the camera angle's perfect. You're right behind it, and your brain sort of, like you said, expects something to go horribly wrong based on the bounce of the ball and the angle, and
yeah, she stabs just right through the centre of the ball just to keep it down, and easier said than done. So
if Ireland kind of in their heart of hearts can kind of hold their hands up and say that's a really good goal, you have to just acknowledge the quality. Second goal is a car crash 6-7 minutes later, just scruffy. Caitlin Hayes, and it happened a few times to Hayes in the game, that those awkward bit of moisture on the ball, bouncing, skidding at you, kind of hip height, and you go to kind of volley it, side volley it. She kind of mishit a few of them, scuffed a few of them, and this time it fell again to Volhart, and Grace Maloney was off her line. She'd obviously given a shout and not been heard, or well, you hope she gave a shout.
Yeah.
But the finish again is very good.
Yeah, there seemed to be some miscommunication because Maloney came out fast towards the ball looking as if she was going to pick it up, and then I think probably Caitlin Hayes might have been caught between two minds as to whether to clear it or control it, and in reality she didn't either, and it ended up at Volhart's feet, who lobbed Maloney for the second time in 2 games. Unfortunately she just couldn't backpedal in time, so I suppose that's going to happen when you have a keeper who isn't playing within the team regularly. Obviously Courtney Brosnan is the favoured number 1. But otherwise, I thought Maloney actually equipped herself very well throughout the 2 games. And yeah, it was just a miscommunication. And like that, maybe just putting your foot through it in that case would have been a better option. But again, hindsight is a great thing.
I know. She did have one in the second half again, which almost led to something. Because it's weird. Like 2 minutes later, Hayes with the ball at her feet will like clip a 35-yard crossfield pass dead to someone's feet. It's just everyone has different chinks or things, and I appreciate they're not super easy balls to deal with, but it was a bit of a thing.
Yeah, it was. It seemed to be a feature of her play last night, and I know there was a lot of probably pressure on her to keep her spot too, because there was talk of Patton maybe coming in, who had been suspended for the first leg, and she did come in at half time, but it was in a hole in mid spot, so she probably felt maybe she did feel that extra pressure as well. And it's a back three that they weren't used to playing together only for the first time in the first leg too, but at the same time, I'm sure she'll look to improve that going forward, definitely.
The feeling at home and the sense from the body language of both players, then even the crowd, the touchlines, was Belgium are about to win this game. Inevitably, sorry, not just the game, the tie. It's done. You know, the Ireland players were like, the crowd were like, okay, we're cooking, we're fine. That was the sense. They're away from home. They've just gone 2-0 down. Belgium just needed another goal. They've loads of time to get it. It's over.
Yeah, I suppose that was probably the overall feeling, but I think half time came at a really good time for us. Had that first half gone on a bit longer, maybe I would have feared a little bit. But I think when you get an opportunity to get in a half time and then kind of reassess and have a bit of calmness about it and put structure on it, I think we showed that then in the second half came out and were able to adapt a lot better, I think, to Belgium. And, just psychologically as well, when you're going into a game on such a high of that 2-goal cushion as well, it can really knock the stuffing out of you, I think. So definitely that half time seemed to suit us, and we really came out better in the second half.
It's so encouraging.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
It's great to be able to talk in such a positive way about any Irish team, at senior level in particular. We've done well underage at times, getting scalps off other nations, but this really, Belgium were favourites, no doubt about that. They've played at the last 3 Euros. They've yet to qualify for World Cup, but at the same time, still around 7 places higher than us. They were the favourites on paper, and everyone expected that, but it was great to get it over the line.
It's incredible. I mean, it just didn't feel possible, but they I suppose one of the things which I'm curious for your thoughts again, which carried over from Friday again, which is doubly encouraging, not least away from home and when they're 2-0 down and the crowd are up for it and the Belgian players are probably feeling that bit more relaxed about the situation, is those patterns, those little triangles, not maybe as fluent as Friday, but they still did translate over to last night. Like, there were times where, again, my brain has become accustomed to Ireland not making the right decision in possession in a certain point, or giving the ball away easily at a certain point. It not perfect, but like it had jumped forward and continued into last night. They sort of like showed a composure which steadied the ship, which was, again, it felt new-ish,
Yeah, it was great to see. And in the second half, I thought we got maybe Shiva a bit more on the ball, running in behind as well. And
she's great, athletic.
Yeah.
She's busy.
Yeah, definitely has such attributes of an energizer bunny, really. Yeah. She's
Denise O'Sullivan's like, okay, I see you over there. That's 2 of us now.
Yeah, and I think especially Denise came into the games only having played 20 minutes in the last 2 months, so they were kind of wrapping her in cotton wool, I think, a bit, and like that, letting Shiva do the running, which I think worked really well. And then we had either Rucha Littlejohn or Anna Patton holding then as well. So that balance, I think, we really got right as well, which again has been lacking at times. We looked vulnerable on the counter attack in previous games. It wasn't quite so open. I thought we tackled and took yellows when we needed to take them as well. Just smart play, I think, all around. But definitely the kind of combination and keeping the ball, and obviously they say attack is the best form of defence. So it's definitely true. If you have the ball, they can't score. So did really well in that sense, I thought.
Yeah, it's just brilliant. Because it really is like a year ago since Ruisha Littlejohn is on the side of the Aviva pitch after the Wales game saying, look, we can't play football. The next generation, we're just going to have to sort this out. I mean, if you'd showed her a tape of the last 2 matches a year on, I think in that moment she would have said herself, that doesn't seem likely. That's why this is also
I know,
surprising in a great way.
Yeah, it is. It is fantastic. But I think, I don't know if it was just personnel changes or what, but I think the formation worked as well. I thought Aoife Mannion did well in that right wing back role. Probably not her preferred position. She's usually centre back or full back, but she did really well getting up supporting the attack.
They played a beautiful, I mean, you called it in commentary, it wasn't an over the top ball, it was like a curled around defender into the path of Carusa in the first half, kind of a pass. You know what I mean? There's real quality there.
Yeah, there was, and she shows composure as well at the right times, and I think Denise too as well. Obviously, we talk a lot about Denise, but she really is that kind of heartbeat of the team in centre mid, and Katie as well, getting up and down the wing. She had a tough job against Janssens, who came in at right back for Belgium, and I thought she handled it really well. She got in a few times initially at the start, but then we kind of weathered that storm a bit as well. And Van Havermaet, who's 6'1" in the middle of midfield, she dominated a little bit at times, but we got a bit closer to her in the second half too. And that has to go, I think, to the tactics as well. They got it right. We can be critical when things don't go right, but I think credit where credit is due as well. And that's
I don't know if you managed to see McCabe's interview post match, but she was talking about trying to get more on the front foot second half. That was what they talked about half time. Maybe her positioning was a bit deep or whatever, but as you said, credit to whatever they did do just to wrestle back control, not least when you're 2-0 down and all of that's going on. We were, maybe me more than you, to be fair, we were critical of Katie McCabe after the Welsh, the two-legged one, especially the performance on the Aviva. It just felt like, there was the kind of personal war with the referee. There was like almost too focused on the crowd and the external, and just a lack of kind of discipline or composure. The two matches, Friday and Tuesday, I thought she was immense, really. Like, the goals, obviously phenomenal, but like there was a discipline to her. Like, she's still, she'll shout at someone if she needs to, but there was a focus, I thought, to her, and she was just phenomenal for the team. Defended, and then when she could attacked. Set pieces were all, really on point. I thought she was a real, like, authoritative, this is my 100th cap type of performance.
Yeah, I'd agree, definitely. I think it was probably the best 180 minutes back to, like, 90 minutes back to back I've seen from her in as long as I can probably remember. Maybe in her early days when she was playing Without Fear, she did have those types of performances as well, but definitely really, really kind of led by example, I thought, and kind of got everyone to rally in around her as well, but in a positive way like that kind of, the other things you mentioned weren't visible, and I think it was great to see, and it allowed her then to kind of show how good she is as a player, because the quality shone through, definitely.
Well, her finish on for the third goal on Friday.
Yeah, it was just perfection, really. Just struck so well right across the ball into the corner, and the keeper had no chance. And it really set us on our way, I think. Yeah.
And when she shouted at people last night, it was like the opposition players as opposed to the referee. And I'm fine with that. That's perfect.
Maybe she thought it was Stephanie Frappard was reffing the most experienced player or referee you can have. So maybe she's just picking her battles as well. In that sense.
So I guess the winner, obviously, then 90th minute, it's just so sweet. It's just, there's nothing better than a last minute goal in football. Abby Larkin, I was surprised to reach 30 caps, actually. For 20 years old, she's just churning them out really quickly. The greatest miscue in the history of football to set up the most deft of finishes. So it was kind of, I don't know, you take your luck when you can get it, but then the finish is really cultured.
Yeah.
As bad as the miscue is, then the finish is the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, and it was all within the space of a second, really. It just, she just seemed to have, they say just ice in the veins at that point. She although, like you said, it was a pretty bad miscue, and then suddenly she just pulls that dinked finish out of nowhere. It was incredible. Just, I think it was an instinctive finish. Like, you can't coach that. It was just natural, and I was delighted for her, because she's had to kind of bide her time. Although she's still young, she was fast tracked into the senior team, missed under 19 a lot of those games for being sitting on the bench really with the seniors. So I think it was great to see, and her interview afterwards was really heartwarming just to watch it. She was just delighted, and I think everyone was really, and to do it in the last minute, I think made it even sweeter, definitely.
It's interesting you say that can't be coached, because she said to Carla Ward, I've never done that in my life, like that type of dinky finish. I've never done that in my life before. That plays to your point about instinct, and just something in her subconscious or processes the dynamic of the situation and just reacts.
Yeah, exactly. It was just a reaction, and just all the more impressive, like I said, after the miscue, just to have the kind of the head on your shoulders to do that. Like, a lot of people would just hit that into the keeper at that point, because the keeper came out and put pressure obviously on the ball. It was from Belgium's perspective, it was disappointing. Deleuze had just scuffed her clearance, but I think it was credit to Anna Patton as well. She had gotten herself into the box for the pullback from Carusa, so she caused that kind of chaos as well. And Anna Patton Patton, given that she hasn't played really in midfield much for Ireland, I think she had an impressive performance too. She came in and kind of provided that cover and stability in that centre mid role, especially when Rusha didn't have the legs for 90, I think.
Yeah, because as you said, there was no room with the keeper either. That was the only way she could have scored the goal. Like, there was no angle from her point of view, to the left of the keeper. It was just dink or nothing. So brilliant. And then the celebrations and like what that does for a team, like it's amazing. I'm genuinely a little bit like in shock about the whole last two matches.
Yeah,
it's such
great.
an upswing.
No, it really is, in fairness. And it's just great to be able to talk about it in a positive light. You get a lot of, I suppose, there's been a lot of doom and gloom around the men's and the women's team. So this is definitely, a landmark. And getting back to League A is massive, and all that comes with that, the playoff and everything guaranteed, it's just incredible. And if you think as well, the opportunity it brings, bringing bigger teams to town. Belgium, although they're quite a big nation, we only got 14,000 at the Aviva, which we're talking about as being disappointed, whereas obviously years ago that figure would be incredible. So I think bringing bigger teams even than Belgium into town would be great. Maybe back to Porky Queeve as well, who knows.
Yeah, the biggest pitch of all time.
Yes.
Because it is interesting. 14 did feel a touch disappointing, albeit the atmosphere was very good on Friday. Belgium last night had 7.
Yes.
Like we sort of are hard on ourselves sometimes, whereas we're ahead of so many countries in that respect. But I take your point that Nations League, big teams next year, you're looking at 30,000 again coming to these games. And just we've had a post-World Cup just nothing period. It feels like we're kind of starting again.
Yeah, definitely. And, you're building that fan base all the time, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, you're doing it. Even if these teams, maybe people go to the game, maybe to see France or England or maybe even Spain this year more than us, but then they'll come back again. And that's what's important, getting those fans back, bums on seats, as you say, and just coming back through the gates. And if it is a case of same with the men's team, Ronaldo versus Ireland or Portugal, some might say, but that those kind of teams bring crowds, and it'd be great. I think it's going to have a big impact going forward next year. Now it's kind of all positive and big things to look forward to.
Yeah. Because it's just so different to if they had taken the template from those USA games, translated it to these two games, one at home, 1-0, drawn 0 all last night. It's the same outcome, but it just feels different.
It does, and I think maybe some of that is down to Belgium themselves. They're very inconsistent and unpredictable too, a bit hot and cold. They're very cold in Dublin, and then the first half last night they were hot. So it's kind of, they even looking back on their results, they had this strange bounce back ability that they tended to lose and then win against the same team very soon after. England, the European champions, one of them, they lost 5-0 and then 4 days later they beat them 3-2, and that kind of was a little bit, you're thinking of that even before last night's game, but obviously we nipped that in the bud too. So that kind of, I think Belgium definitely kind of contributed to that.
Yeah, for sure. For Carla Ward, this is just a massive fill-up because huge expectation, great appointment on the face of it, and then the very rocky start, the USA trip, which is really, you couldn't hold that against any manager. Big players left at home and you're away in sweltering heat against the US. It's not going to be good. But, even there were kind of like articles in advance of the first leg saying, it's not really happening, Carla. Like she was a bad 2 legs here away from people starting to grumble. And now all is well. So for her tenure, it's absolutely enormous.
Yeah, massive. Takes the pressure off for a year, realistically. Like that, I think she would have been under pressure from the media and elsewhere had these games not gone to plan, even though, like we said, Belgium were still the favourites. But performance-wise as well, it wasn't even, like you said, it wasn't even just the results. It was performance too was really impressive. And now, we've got a free shot in the Group A in terms of the group stages with that guaranteed playoff. And if we were to even finish third in the group of 4, we'd avoid in the first round, we'd avoid a League B team. So
we're seeded.
Yeah, exactly. So there is something to play for there as well, although it is, like I said, free shot really. But if you could target that third place in the League A, it would be massive as well.
Yeah. Do you, like, me and Alana were talking in the office yesterday, and we were sort of like, if there was a league like A.5, that would just be our sweet spot. Vera Pauw was very much of the opinion in advance of the last World Cup to play the best possible opposition, and it meant a long run, I think, of defeats until an Australia game at home where things sort of began to click and all was forgiven. But I suppose there is that where you go up to A, get a really tough draw, and it's confidence sapping as opposed to we're getting into good habits playing against better opposition. Where are you on that? Like, are you like, it's obviously League A, give us the best of the best, or can you see the potential downside of a really tough group?
Yeah, I can see both really. I suppose the last time we were in Ligue A with the likes of England, France, Sweden, especially the England-France games, you're not touching the ball a whole lot at times. Obviously, the France at home was a different story, and they made 11 changes. But you're not working on a lot in possession and all that. But if you can get, I think a lot will be said of the draw that comes next week, whether we get really highly ranked League A teams or whether they're kind of just above, say, Belgium in that ranking and just that mid, I suppose, section of the League A teams. And then I think we can implement a game plan at times that we can go at them as well, but keeping that kind of stability at the back too. So I think that League A is where, I agree that League A point, A whatever's between A and B is where we probably do belong, and that's where we'd sit. And I can imagine we're going to bounce in between for the next number of years. But the longer we can stay in League A, the better, I think, because it'll develop us definitely better. Yeah.
So I guess it's just such a positive couple of days, and we go into next year now feeling very, very different about things. In terms of like any other prospects coming through, I know you were doing the commentary of the Athlone Bohemians, the cup final game, and I was watching it on TG Car, and they did do an interview with Carla Ward during the second half, which was really interesting. And obviously, given the occasion, the interviewer is asking about, well, like anyone out here, and there was a hat-trick hero there who's part of the training camp, but in the main, it was kind of brave of her. But Carla Ward, on Irish television during the cup final, instead of going, no, there's a lot of talent there, she was pretty like, it's a big jump. Got to be honest, these are not professional, physically, speed of the game, everything. And I took that to mean, and this is me talking now, there's no chance that this level, I'm picking them realistically. It's UK or bust for me. That was what I took to mean by her comments.
I think that's how she was going about it, in maybe a nice way or indirect way, but that's what she meant. I don't think she had any she wasn't at many matches during the year or that in the Women's League of Ireland, and that cup final, I suppose, it coincided with the camp here, so it was suitable for her to go. But she doesn't
rate the league as good enough for what she
doesn't
in blunt terms.
There's she wasn't really hiding over that fact, and I think bringing Kelly Brady and Maria Reynolds, Shamrock Rovers defender, in was they were always just in as training players. She made that clear that they didn't have a chance.
I thought that was interesting, because there's nothing stopping her, for instance, going, well, we'll just have an extra 2 players in the squad and you're officially part of the squad. It was like, no, I'm making the distinction. They're not official members of the squad. They're in for the training week. Even that's quite like...
already they're in a different category, and there was 24 players in because Anna Patton was suspended, and then last night Heather Payne missed out on the squad, so there was an extra, I suppose, player in that sense. And even, I mean, that's her own choice, I suppose. There's logistics as well in terms of flights and all that as well to look at. But maybe I think Kelly Brady probably does have the attributes to be in and around that squad. The number 9 spot, or centre forward, is a place we're probably a bit stacked in at the moment. You think of the likes of Saoirse Noonan on the bench, Amber Barrett on the bench last night, didn't get on the pitch, and but I think Kelly Brady definitely showed she has those qualities. It'll be interesting to see, will she be still with that loan next year?
What age is Brady?
I think she's in her 20s. She definitely played. She's early 20s because she played with the Irish under-19 team. I think in 2019, if I'm not mistaken, or around that maybe. Okay. We have 20s. That wrong, but but she
did look like a step ahead pace-wise, athletically, than maybe.
Yeah, she. I think so, and she could you could see that throughout the year, ending as top goal scorer as well.
How's that going down though? That like if Ward wanted to be political, she could, but it was a fairly no nonsense. No, I just don't see it. Because you've seen former players talk about how the national manager needs to embrace the league a bit more. It came up during Ian Gleason's tenure as well. Like, oh, she's suddenly ignoring us was kind of a complaint of certain people. As I've no sides here in the fight, quote unquote. I can see where Ward's coming from, to be honest. But is there an unhappiness, do you suspect, out there that she's kind of overlooking the league?
I think so, maybe. I mean, there is an awful lot of hard work been done at the grassroots level and at clubs, at the National League level around the country. And I know people got a lot of joy when Julianne Russell, I think, was ultimately representing the league, and when she was representing Ireland as well last year and did so well. And she was an outlier, there's no doubt about that, because she trained like a professional. And there are teams, I think there's developments been made all the time, like at Lone do have some professional players, albeit a lot of them are from overseas. So Kelly Brady is one of the few that is Irish or is eligible to be play for Ireland. So I think there is probably a bit of disappointment, but at the same time there's more and more Irish girls going abroad earlier as well. So the pool now of talent is getting a lot wider. When I was playing, it was usually used to be about half and half, maybe like Irish based and players based from abroad. And now that's changing every year and players are going abroad earlier. So that talent pool is getting wider. So it's a difficult one, because I think the league is definitely going from strength to strength. And there's a development league being introduced next year, which is going to provide more opportunities for players around the country and coaches as well to develop. So moving in the right direction for sure. But it's just, trying to see if those players stand out and get picked for the Irish team is another question, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I guess for anyone who wasn't thrilled to hear Ward's perspective, unfortunately Ward, for them, has a lot of credit in the bank all of a sudden. And, if the game's not gone well, you could imagine those grumbles growing louder. But now I guess all is kind of forgiven. So that's kind of it, really. Any other overarching thoughts we haven't kind of hit upon? No,
I think like that, it's just great that you kind of have that guaranteed playoff in the bag already, and we can go in with optimism to League A and try a few things. And if they don't work out, it doesn't really realistically matter, because you're still guaranteed that playoff, which is in a great position to be in. And to think that it's kind of on the horizon to maybe get to another World Cup. We can dream at this point. We can definitely dream.
Big time.
In
Brazil.
Yeah,
willing to travel.
Yeah, exactly. I actually did a lot of traveling in South America, but I didn't I only spent one day in Brazil, so I wouldn't mind going back there. But I mean, like, kind of what an iconic place to play or World Cup too. Yeah. I mean, it would be just incredible, and I think it'd be the likes of, you'd have to think of the likes of Denise O'Sullivan, Katie McCabe. Would it be their last tournament? I don't know. Not retiring them this early, but
no.
At the same time,
their last World Cup chance.
Yeah, exactly. They still might have another Euros in them for sure, but it'd be amazing to see them playing at another World Cup. And I think just really looking forward to the draw now as well next week.
Tuesday.
So all eyes will be on that. I mean, you'd love to see, personally I'd love to get Spain. I think it'd be great. Why not just aim high? And well, also I think if we got teams that were to maybe we'd be in competition with that third place team to try to get that third place spot. So really that's going to be crucial, I think, who the third seed in our group will be. You want that to be a team that we could possibly beat, and if you could beat them or at least get 4 points off them home and away, then we would we'd play a League C team in the first round of the playoff. So that would be massive. So
you'd take two massive fish, let them beat everyone, and then the third one that we can go at.
Yeah, that's really
it. We'll be fourth ranked, obviously.
I think we will. It depends on how the rankings will come out. But I think we're just waiting for the Iceland Northern Ireland game that was postponed yesterday because of snow on the pitch in Reykjavik. So just waiting on that one, and then all the seedings will be finalised. And look forward to that.
Great
optimism.
So those games are all into what? They'll be next year at this stage, kind of springtime and beyond.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. Spread over a few months. So
amazing.
It'd be great to look forward to it.
Well, this time last year it was the Wales game. and now it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, and there was still, I think, a lot of memories lingering because Ireland hadn't played at the Aviva since that game. So, yeah, when they took the game to Belgium, it was great to see those kind of cobwebs and that to be all erased. And yeah, looking forward now and plenty of reasons to be positive.
Yeah. Okay. So whatever they did this time, amazing. Maeve, Gurmila Malgut.
Fáilte Road.
Thanks a mil.